Welcome to the Clause YouTube channel.
Together, we strive for a safer, secure, and more stable world.
Good evening, everyone.
Can you hear me? No.
Welcome to yet another episode of Clause YouTube channel Strategic Frontlines. Today we have with us from Nepal two experts. Please welcome Major General Binoj Basnyat. He retired from the Nepal Army and is associated with Rangsit University, Thailand. Is a keen strategic thinker who specializes on geopolitics and national security. Please also welcome Dr. Pramod Jaiswal. He is the research director at NICE and is an alumnus of NISA. He has authored, edited books on China and South Asia. I welcome both of you to this podcast. Now, today we know that what is happening in Nepal is very sad. We all in India are really not able to understand how this revolution has taken this scale. Is really mind-boggling. So, firstly, I will just like to say a few things about how this revolution started. It is considered to be a backlash as far as the government's decision to ban nearly 20 social media platforms were concerned. And we know that it resulted in widespread protest, especially amongst the students. And then other things started joining, like the corruption, nepotism, economic hardships. So I would first like to ask Dr. Jaiswal, is there a sense of frustration and disillusionment? Because frankly, we in India are surprised with the scale of this unrest taking place. Is it just a reaction to a ban, or there's something deeper which is going on? Please tell your views.
Thank you, Dr. Roshan. Yes, we were aware that there is kind of frustration among the youth. We didn't know that it can lead to the situation that we are witnessing at the moment. But the people in Nepal, especially the youth, were really frustrated with corruption, the way we have lack of governance and we have a lack of transparency, lack of accountability, where the head of major parties are involving in themselves and they're not delivering. So this had felt frustration at the time where Nepalese are migrating abroad, they're going as migrant labor, people are being dying and coming back in coffers. So this was a situation in the country where they're also witnessing that the life of the politicians were wonderful. They're having big houses, big cars, the children were enjoying wonderful life in abroad, studying and enjoying vacation in Switzerland and all. So those videos through social media, Twitter, Facebook were being circulated in Kathmandu. So when the government witnessed that, they put ban on social media, the reasons were given different. And that added to the frustration that when they are raising voices, which is for democracy, for freedom, against corruption, when government was attacking on the social space, then that led to the protest. So initially there was two demands: social media ban removal and corruption. But after that, on the first day, the movement started around 11. Within an hour, there was brutal use of force by the state. It was very surprising. We were not able to apprehend because they were all young students, some school children, and they were killed. Never in the history of Nepal we have witnessed such a huge amount of killing in a single day. We have overthrown monarchy, which was 200 years old. We have got democracy. We have come through all kinds of social unrest and political unrest. But never will witness that almost 20 people are killed in Kathmandu in few hours. So that really fueled anger. So initially this movement, which was basically focused in Kathmandu, started spreading different parts of the country. So there was curfew in Kathmandu, but there were curfew in other parts because people assembled and gathered in a huge number in Pokhara, Butwal, Jhapa, Dharan, Biratnagar, in all the major cities. And there was curfew imposed. This shows that there was huge anger and frustration. So that is the first part. The state could have addressed better on the same day. by addressing the demand, which was resignation of the Home Minister and the Prime Minister. But Home Minister resigned, the Prime Minister refused to resign. He even refused to open the social media ban, but finally, with the intense pressure from the coalition partner, he did that. But next day, this was not able to make the protester calm, and then eventually there was burning of houses of all the top leaders of all the major three parties. They also stormed Parliament, President House, Supreme Court, several TV stations. So all torched by the people here. So what we can see is that the situation has been very alarmed, which was unexpected by everyone, even the analyst or government. No one expected that it can lead to such a protest. We know that maybe it will take maybe sometime in a huge protest there are one or two killings that happens, and it takes for a week or two, and then sometime it inflate or sometimes it disappears. So this was expected, but no one imagined that it can lead to such a movement in a very short time. Thank you.
Firstly, I would like to give my condolences to those people who have lost their life, and it's really very sad. And I hope that normalcy comes in Nepal faster. Uh, uh, I would also like to ask Major General Basnyat your initial views as to what is happening. We know that the Prime Minister has gone, the ministers have resigned. There's a kind of anarchy, and so clearly the army has been called up. So there are layers of complexities to this problem. So what do you feel the army is going to do in the next few days? Obviously, they'll try to control the situation to get peace and stability, but what are your views, how it is going to work?
Well, let me put firstly that Nepal's Janjad protests are of frustrations, and it is both a security and politically related. Though the igniting factor was the ban on the social media, I think there are deeper things inside. But one thing we have to be sure: this didn't come as a surprise. This was the ignorance of the political leaders of identifying the national strategic challenges that the country had after the shifts in the political system. Okay. So the ignorance has led to frustrations and led to several other protests, which has been met with force at the same time, which has not been addressed. And I still remember, the protest didn't just start now. There's a few years back it started, but no one wanted to really address that corruption was a national challenge, political instability was the national challenge, and the governance system was a national challenge. So this is what brought the governance and the addressing the people's aspirations, particularly the youths. And this has two parts. When you look at the youths and the peaceful protest that started yesterday, the handling was the main instigations of larger participation today, and if not answered well, will have to face a severe security political consequences tomorrow. Now, my take on this is the army has been very cautiously trying to understand what is really happening. And I see a mood that the army does not want to get into the political mode. I don't see that in the, but I think there is a close consultations between the chief of the army, General Singh, who is also an honorary general of the Indian Army, and the president. Now, I just heard maybe a half an hour ago that when there is when there is a constitutional vacuum now with the resignation of the prime minister, and the prime minister has not called the National Security Council meeting so that the army can get deployed legally. I mean, the army in the ground comes right now in the local administrative orders, so they are not still authorized to. So there is still a constitutional vacuum of the army coming into the field to control the situation. And when you hear the president coming into in the mood to resign when he doesn't feel safe, I think it is getting offhand, and I hope he doesn't do that. It is a very accountable position that he holds now, more than yesterday, when he has to take the political strides forward, and when the army will be backing up on the security side. So this is I mean, I hope he doesn't do that. And this is where I think friends can come across, you know. And the other thing that I would like to mention on this is what is happening right now is the political parties have lost their legality. Second, the law enforcement forces are diminishing their credibility. So the only institutions left to handle this situation is the president's office and the military. So these two have to work hand in hand and address it as early as possible, also both the political and the security issues, so that it is not mishandled or taken advantage by other unwanted elements tomorrow, like things that happened in Dhaka and Sri Lanka and even in Pakistan, you know, in the economic crisis. So learning from these case studies, I think we must find the president must find a political solution by as early as possible. At the same time, I think the army chief is also talking with giving a national address, and I think right now, or I think it may have happened, but I'm not aware of what he's been bringing out. But there are two things that should happen. One is the issue of corruption, which is not just corruption, institutionalization of corruption, which is a big challenge, a major challenge for even for political instability or having political stability. So a commission of investigations in corruption cases must be addressed by the interim setup with non-political entities. So and with from the time of when the new constitution was promulgated from 2015. So all the political heads, whether they had been the government or the ministries, the bureaucratic heads, the army chiefs, the police, the armed police chiefs, all must have been investigated on corruption. Okay, one. Second is to find a commission, a neutral body, an expert body authorized by the interim arrangements for the amendments of the constitution, so that the flaws in the constitutions that has brought about political instability must be addressed. Like one thing that is floating is the directly elected head of government. The question about federalism, how far has it been helping, or is it effective? Is it not going to be effective? The question is about Nepal's identity. So these are things I think the country and particularly the youths are in search for, which has invited today's constitutional vacuum, and hope it does not become a constitutional crisis, and the environment today. Thank you.
I agree with you. You have given a lot of valid points, and some of them are very long-term points. But at this point, let me also welcome Lieutenant General Dushyant Singh, PVSM, AVSM retired. He's the DG of CLAWS. And General Singh, would you like to comment on these two issues, what were discussed earlier?
Has Dr. Jaiswal spoken? I would recommend.
Yes, actually, he spoke first. He gave an overview of the things happening.
Okay, so my views are, I'll give a little larger perspective of the region as such. If you look at India at the center of South Asia, you find that there is instability in Myanmar, there is instability in Bangladesh, there is instability, I won't say really instability, but there is some kind of a flux which is going on in Pakistan. You recently had 6 aircrafts landing in Nur Khan base. For what? There is a big question mark because if they had to land for relief material, they should have gone further north, maybe towards Islamabad, but they have landed close to Balochistan. Were they arms and ammunition? We can't say so specifically, but the logic says that there is something more to what meets the eye. Nur Khan Air Base was a center of discussion during Op Sindoor. It had been damaged, and now these flurry of military activities coming from the US. Are we seeing a pattern of destabilizing the region of South Asia around India? And if it is so, one thing which is being made very clear is that the Gen Z is the next target. Gen Z is being targeted because they can easily, get swayed by such little. I wouldn't say little, but I would say such uh, instigations where like ban on the social media, etc., which is supposedly the start point or the trigger of all this. And I agree, it is a trigger. The root causes is what Jal Basnyat highlighted, that it is basically long drawn corruption, etc., etc. My worry is, well, temporarily the army may be able to handle the situation. Temporarily, the president may be able to handle the situation. But this entire stability of Nepal needs a long term view. You see, from 2008, when the monarchy fell,
Yes.
to today, there have been 14 governmental changes.
Absolutely.
I mean, this is kind of a record for any country. I thought this is the process of churning which is going on, and it happens. Like before stability, there'll be a lot of churn in any geopolitical situation, and ultimately you'll reach a stability figure, a stable situation. But it does not seem to be happening in the case of Nepal. Who has the interest to destabilize the countries in South Asia in general and around India in particular? Now that I leave it to our experts to actually throw some light on,
Yes.
and these are my initial remarks. I only have this hunch. Maybe monarchy may be a better option for Nepal than the political parties who have been kind of squabbling over government formations. Sometimes they are aligning with someone, sometimes they are aligning with party A, party B. Nepali Congress has also gone into the mold of this kind of a behavior. I may be stepping my actually mandate to comment on all these. The better people would be Dr. Jaiswal and
Yes.
General Binod,
Yes.
who are on the ground, and I would recommend them to highlight: is there a parallel going on between Bangladesh and Nepal? Are the people who were responsible for Bangladesh, are they connected to it? Are the deep states connected to it? You'll get to know about it as the time goes by, but initial hunch what it is. Was the situation so bad that it warranted a prime minister's house getting torched, and the former prime minister's house also, he was also, I believe, under attack or something like that. So I think it needs a little more deeper deliberation than the superficially what is being projected as Gen Z turns wild or whatever it is being said. I'll stop here, and I'll request
Yes.
my experts to take this bigger question forward. Is there a pattern to keep South Asia destabilized, so that
Uh,
the major powers remain in control and have some leverage in this region?
Dr. Jaiswal, Jal Singh pointed out a very pertinent point here. That is there a pattern in South Asia? Because it started with Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, and now Nepal, and the pattern is same. So, is there a trigger? Is there a deep state which is acting? I would like you to highlight that also. And the second thing, what he rightly pointed out was, say, after 2008, there have been dozens of governments which has come and gone. So, is there a factional politics with unstable partners leading to frequent government changes and accountability deficit? How do you handle that? So,
Thank you. I'll
both the
address those.
questions you can answer.
First was like instability and Nepal's democracy and monarchy. This was raised. I think, yes, Nepal has got very unstable since last 2 3 decades. But one should also understand that in last two decades, Nepal has got major transition. From a monarchy, we have become democracy, and then from democracy, which was centralized, we have become federal. We are a Hindu kingdom now. We're a Hindu secular country. We have a republic system. So that there has been massive change in Nepal in last 2 3 decades. Nepal has moved a long way in last 2 3 decades. Coming to monarchy is a viable option. There are very small segment in Nepal who are looking at it, who are frustrated and who want to look at probably monarchy can be a stable option. But one should understand that the people of Nepal have overthrown 200 years old monarchy, and at the moment we have no king, and we have no king like character. Obviously, who can be a king here at the moment? There is a crisis where we are not able to have one stable or reliable person who can be a prime minister, president, who can be a king, who can be there for forever. So there is no king called character in this whole country, because the monarchy, the king member in the family of king was killed the king, and then another became a king who is not so well accepted. He's a controversial figure. So there is no king like character. Second, there is no vision. Even king is not coming forward and saying, look, this is what I can deliver. I can give you the stability. I can give you growth. They're not coming with that promises, because they do not have a vision. At the same time, they do not have a strategy. I mean, you can see that the king once a year he come in the public and make some noise and disappear. That is what the people expect. We don't want a tourist king. We want a king who is constantly communicating with the people, who promises to deliver, who wins the heart of the people. He has not been able to do that. So at the moment, we have no king. With the king has no vision and there is no strategy. So that is the reason there is no king. So we have been in an unstable situation. Obviously, the problem lies within the country. There are also external factors that are equally responsible. The role of external factor in Nepal destabilization is important, which you all know. The role of China is not like by others is not like with China, and that play important role in small countries. So external factor are equally very important. Coming to the parallels of Bangladesh and Colombo, or you can Dhaka and Colombo, this is South Asia. I think there might be fact. We all know that South Asia is emerging. India is emerging as a power. Not everyone might be comfortable with rise of India. India has a special position in this whole region, especially in Bangladesh, Nepal, Sri Lanka, Bhutan. India has very comfortable relation, and India enjoys that privilege, a special privilege in these countries. So some might not be comfortable, and that might have played a role. But there are parallels as well. If you look at Sri Lanka or Bangladesh, what we can see is the similar template, similar nature of protest is there. Demands are similar. And then they have been able to achieve the similar aims, where they have overthrown the elected government, not only elected government who had two-third majority. In Bangladesh, Hasina had almost two-third majority. In Nepal, Nepali Congress and CPN-UML, the current Prime Minister Oli, they had almost two-third majority. That is replaced. In Colombo also, Gotabe had almost very comfortable majority. So a very comfortable two-third, very popular government has been replaced. So this, obviously, there are some indication that there might be role of deep state external factor. I don't deny to that, but I think one should also understand the problems that exist in South Asia where they might have been able to play. I mean, the corruption in Nepal is so real that you don't, if you say that he's a politician, he's not corrupt, that is the best joke in this country. And it applies in Bangladesh, it applies in probably India, it applies in Sri Lanka. So tomorrow, if in India there is such kind of movement where people say, oh, we don't have corrupt officials, bureaucracy is corrupt, police is corrupt, judiciary is corrupt, media is corrupt, no one will be surprised in India as well. And the situation is more severe in Nepal, more severe in Bangladesh, and more severe in Colombo, because we are emerging democracies. We are not robust, stable like India. So I think when this situation exists, where your media is not so robust, which is where judiciary is not very strong, when we have corrupt system, and then we have different institutions, NGOs supported by countries around the world. Obviously, they have reached. I don't deny to that. But I think we should also understand the deep-rooted problem that exists in Bangladesh, that exists in Nepal, that exists in Colombo, are there, which help the youth to unite and come on the front. For example, I'll give you a few examples. The people in Nepal, they're protesting against the corrupt behavior of the politicians, and they ban the social media. the space that youth enjoy today. Maybe our generation are not so reliant on this digital space. We can live without WhatsApp, we can live without Facebook, we can go to Tring era where you can call the number and call your people. But maybe new generation don't have Tring, they don't want to call, they just use WhatsApp, they chat, they play games, they like all kind of videos, make YouTube, enjoy the life. So this is what is there. Second is the digital era is all being recorded. Whatever statement said by some politician 10 months ago, 10 years ago, are there on record, and they question, oh, you said this, now you're not delivering. Same thing happened throughout the region. So tomorrow, due to digital space, youth are questioning. They're questioning that you promised something and you have failed to deliver. Yesterday one leader said that in one day the government had to resign, and they said, okay, your time starts now. It's 23 hours now. So that's why the reaction that people expect is very quick. This is the era that people are doing. So I think that is where the situation lies. Last, I want to touch on frustration. In ancient times, America, Japan used to have modern technology. They used to release new iPhone, and it used to take years to come to Nepal and India. Now, due to digital, if iPhone is launched in the US, at the same time I can watch it live. So if today American have a desire to have a new iPhone, the same desire emerged in Nepal to have that iPhone. So the desire, dreams, aspirations of youth around the world is same at the time. They're not waiting for Nepal to be America and then get the iPhone here in this country. They're not waiting for Bangladesh to become America and then get American system, American democracy. So this is the major problem here, that youth are so much united due to digital space that sovereignty does not lies there. The state are not able to control the sovereignty. None of the government are able to control the youth at the moment, because every youth are controlled by technology. They learn how they protest to their government, how they demand, how they achieve, how they plan. Everything are being trained around the world. They are connected so much they don't need even deep state. I mean, if I need to learn about IR system, what Americans are doing, I can do it individually. I don't need my embassy to connect me to a scholar in the US and guide me. I can write to a scholar, going to the website, downloading his video, communicating, chatting. So the role of states are very limited. So the youth who are using that space are very powerful today, that they can destroy any system that is against them because of the social media and the system that exists today. That's why the bigger space, the borders are no longer, you can't control movement. You can control movement of people, but you can't control movement of ideas that exist. So I think there's a bigger debate that country have to address. If you don't deliver today, you will be facing, you have to face the challenges, whether it's any country in this world, because they're learning to each other. People learn from Dhaka learn from Colombo might have learned from somewhere else. So this is what is happening around the world. So I think the states have limited reach in these modern times when they fail to deliver in terms of controlling more.
General Basnyat, would you like to comment on something? Because there are 2-3 more points which has come, which General Singh also highlighted.
Yeah, covering covering both the points that General Dushyant has raised, on the one on the regional security aspect, and
I think is
I think Singh is having internet problems, I think.
okay. Yeah, I mean, in any case, the situation in Nepal is quite bad. So till he comes online, I had 2-3 more questions to Dr. Jaiswal. Dr. Jaiswal, if we look at the situation now, there are two things which are immediate of concern as far as Nepal is concerned. The first one is to bring in the short-term stability, get the situation to be under control. And the second, add him, I think, is fine.
I'm sorry, the internet is not functioning that well. I think one of the Encel towers have been destroyed.
Okay.
So this is more a realistic
Absolutely, absolutely,
on what's
absolutely.
happening on the ground. I was just touching
Absolutely.
upon the. I think Nepal is facing a dual crisis. One is the political crisis, and the other is the governance crisis. Okay, so that is at the heart of our national security. So at the core is lies the disconnect between the political elites and the reality. So that
Yes.
disconnect is where, I mean, yesterday's peaceful protest comes into play. And when you look at the protest yesterday, if you and look at the political regime change or system change, I think yesterday's protest and the continuation of today is the largest in Nepal's history. Whether it was the 1846 Koth Parva function, because it spread all over the country. It usually used to be the capital, which used to function, but which used to have where the happening was to be would take place. But it has taken place in all the 77 districts with youth participation, and I think the authorities' misunderstanding of how to take the things across and having the mentality of the past on handling the protest led to what is happening today. And so I would term the, let's say, the agitation or the protest today as a natural and an unscripted uprising with a Himalayan favor. So I'm trying to get to General Dushyant's address this. I don't think there is so much of a link, though all the countries, particularly when the rivalry is on and when the competition is on in our region, there are, of course, interests. But to this particular issue on what is happening now, I think it is more a Nepalese pulse rather than looking at it from the other discourse, which I have been noticing in that flavor coming through the Indian media as well. I think this should more be discussed, because I don't think this is the fact, and nor does it help Delhi, Kathmandu trying to solve. And the press release that came out today by the Ministry of External Affairs came out on time, also acknowledging the fact that they were monitoring at the same time, they are for democracy and freedom. So I think this is a good stand that New Delhi has taken. But at the same time, when I look at this second part, when it comes to the president's notion, I think to get rid of the constitutional crisis before he enters into the formations of the interim administration, he should make sure the House is dissolved. Because this is, again, if the House is still alive and you have an interim constitution, this will, in the short term, invite other strategic problems or strategic hindrances. So the president must dissolve the House of Representatives, the Parliament. Those who have resigned, well and good. But if the House must be dissolved and find an interim administration. So I see two narratives coming up. One is a violent one, and the other is the acceptance of the proposal put up by the president. And the other, so these are the two narratives. So, and in these two narratives, as I brought out earlier, and I would still like to stress, one is on the governance issue and one is on the political issue. So a commission on amendments of the constitutions must be established with non-political expertise who do not have any attachments with the political forces. Second is on the governance, a commission to look into the corruption cases after the promulgation of the constitution. And this too has to be a non-political body so that it is unbiased and addresses the youth's concerns about their future and the country's future. So I think this is the way forward. At the same time, I think the army is going to do a good job. I don't think it's going to be a lack of. I think the people do have a lot of trust in the army, and the army chief, I'm sure, once he's spoken, I'm sure the society as such, as large, will abide by and trust him for stability, for controlling this and dealing more in a peaceful manner. But for that, as I said again, the president must dissolve the House before initiating the interim arrangements.
Okay.
Arrangements. I'll ask General Singh if he wants to say something, add to it.
I think the final round, what I would like to have here is that, look, we have to find a short-term solution and we have to find a long-term stable solution. These are the two things coming right in front of Nepal. So in order to achieve this, there are three major actors, as I would say, which would be involved. One is the internal polity of Nepal, which has to rise up beyond the existing political uh, uh, conundrum which is going on in Nepal for the last 15 to 20 years. The second is the two main actors. You see, with China, Nepal has almost a 2 billion trade. Now, if that gets disrupted, the people of Nepal will face a problem. With India, it is 74% of its economic needs are dependent on India. Now, so these are the three major, I would say, players who would be really into finding a solution, uh, because anybody else would, in my view, would not be able to appreciate the kind of environment which is there in that particular region, that particular part of the world. So, how do Dr. Jaiswal and Majal Basnyat see this happening? Do you think that, like you mentioned, two options, violent and the other one was the president's option which he gave? Do you think there'll be a spurt of violence and then possibly some kind of a international and national narrative would start building up, and road to stability and peace would emerge, or that the president's narrative would be the first choice? Which one do you think is likely to be adopted in a prognosis? It's a very difficult question, but let's hear the two of you giving a shot at it.
Thank you. One short-term and long-term solution. Let me start with short-term. What I witness at the moment is that the protesters have few demands. What they have asked is that they should dissolve the parliament and form the interim committee, which will be led by some individual whom they are comfortable with, and who should go for interim election. Election should be under the interim government. So I think what I can see is that probably in coming days we can see interim government, probably led by Balen. That is what we are hearing. That he's one of the most popular face at the moment. So we'll have a he is non-political. He is the mayor of Kathmandu. So probably we'll see him as a head of the interim government. So that is one. We want, at the short term, we want to maintain peace and order. That probably the new government will be able to do that. Second would be that immediately he should take control of law and order and work on economy, because what do the people want here? The frustration is on corruption, and that is led by the economic factors. So I think he has to deliver immediately on the economic factor. He should normalize, and as you said, there should be continued trade with India and China. So the normal things has to go smoothly. So I think immediately he should take care of the situation, work on normalize the situation. That will benefit him immediately. In long run, I think maybe he will have to go for an election within a year or something, whatever they will agree on. So have an election and have a smooth transition of this government to a political force. I think this is very important because at the same time, like the frustration that has been expressed by people today on the political parties can be also expressed tomorrow on the Balen or whoever comes to power. They should realize that frustration does not die if you're not able to deliver. So I think delivery is a huge process. It's very challenging. The challenge that lies on the previous government, the challenge is higher on the current government, because previous only had to go deliver on in terms of governance, corruption, economic issues. Now the current new system will have to first work with the system, stabilize what has been destabilized, and normalize the situation, and then engage with new fronts, because probably Balen and all, they do not have experience or engaging with external factors, so they have to connect themselves, get confidence of the powers that exist in Kathmandu, the geopolitical powers. So they have both internal, external, and economic fronts. So they will have threefold of pressure. One, normalize, balance internal politics. Second, balance external. Third, also deliver on economic front, controlling the corruption. How can you do that? Now, there are lots of people who are in charge of corruption. Are you going to get them back? Are you going to waste all energy, booking those who have fled away or who might flee away? So those are the challenges that he has to fill immediately. On the other side, he has to work on the election and deliver again on economic front. So these are the two major challenges that he has in both short term and long term. Thank you.
General Basnyat, what are your views? Because short term, he said that for the interim government, the mayor of Nepal is very popular. So do you
Uh-huh.
feel that he should be made, or what are yours? Because long term, you have already stated what needs to be done.
Okay. For the short term, what I see is I'm sure the actors now, particularly the army and the president's office, has started their diplomatic strides of letting the let's say the friends in our immediate friends and the other interest countries the routes to, let's say, um, the roots for democracy and the other issues. So the other actor is the groups, the young groups with an absence of a prominent leader. Okay? So when there is an absence of a prominent leader in the Gen Z agitation groups, though the frustrations have come across and has um, led to an opportunity for the state to function again in a proper way. So the cooperation with the agitators, the cooperation with the protesters, the peaceful protesters, is very much important for a short-term route to a long-term for gains. So the two actors, I hope, the president's office and the army has been. But I do get on the news that Balin has been cooperating. I mean, but we're talking with the army, who seems to be more a name in and around Kathmandu and the homes where most of the people are staying. And at the same time, for the and I'm sure, like the let's say the interim administrations, when they have non-political and efficient, let's say, expertise or holding responsibility, I'm sure the concerns of our national issues temporarily will be handled very well by the experts, and the relationship between New Delhi, Beijing, Washington, or other capitals will be well managed too. But well, on another two for another 2 hours are very important. The immediate 2 hours are very important for our short-term and long-term stability of the country.
Yeah.
General
So,
Singh, words.
yeah, I have two things to flag, and that is, as far as India is concerned, we have to be careful about the security, especially because the Nepal border is porous, and there is free access to people to go across. While we may not have any concern as far as people of Nepal are concerned, but there are a lot of people from other countries who come to Nepal, and then they have the potential for creating disturbances in India. So, as far as India is concerned, for its own security, there is a big challenge. I will ask quick questions which will decide the future. General Basnyat has said that next 2 hours are critical. I'm saying next 2 3 questions are also critical. Where do you think Oli is going to head for? That will decide where all this is coming from, or all this is really being orchestrated. Quick response from General Basnyat. And if General Basnyat, are you there online or?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the
Yeah,
internet coming in
yeah,
and going. It's coming in and out.
yeah.
I'm here.
One of our viewers
I
says
think I
he's in
think
Dubai.
yeah. I think that's disinformation. I think they're in safe hands, and
Okay,
they're in safe hands, and the army will, I'm sure, to take care of them well. At the same
okay,
time, try to sort out the law and order situation, encourage the police, the law enforcement forces, so that everyone. The truth is that amongst all the institutions, the people always had a great trust on the army. So I
army.
think the
That's
army initiation on trying to fix the law and order while giving the political negotiations to the president, the civilian authority, the only constitutional body that is legal in the constitutional vacuum, would definitely handle well. But at the same time, we must be very careful on how things fold, because we don't want the unwanted elements or the let's say since we also had a terrorist we said, I don't think this is space or the vacuum should be used by unwanted elements also. So we should be careful on this.
Yeah, Dr. Jaiswal, next quick question to you and a quick response, just a very short response. Are you contemplating involvement of China and India in the resolution of the Nepalese problem, or it is going to be resolved by itself?
I don't know how they can engage at the moment. Obviously, they are important players; they could have role. But the problem is that when you have vacuum, when there is no one to talk, and who will India communicate to at the moment, where president and army chief are there, who are trying to normalize the situation. So I think once situation normalized, I think India could play a constructive role. They can find a way where we can have peaceful resolution, where we can talk. But I think first, both India, China, whoever has to allow space for the internal players to settle down their differences, put on the table, talk, negotiate, and if it goes out of track, maybe they can support. But I think it's an internal problem where both first they should let them sit together, put the differences, and I think there's something that how can India help with corruption is a question. That is what the youth who are in the protesters will be asking. So I think India can help in Nepal's in helping to develop institutions that can control corruption. India can play a role in supporting Nepal's economic development. India can play a role in elections. So I think they have a role in that. But at the moment,
you're right. Yeah, you're right. Maybe in the long term they may play a role, but in the short term it seems unlikely. The only problem or the difference between India and China is, and thereafter, Dr. Roshan, please take questions because there are a lot of people who are asking questions. Is that there is a military to military connectivity between India and Nepal. There are citizens of Nepal who are part of the military, and likewise, Indian presence in Nepal is fairly great, fairly large, especially given its embassy, etc. We have DAs for people of Nepal. We have administrative offices here for their pensions, another thing. So there is a lot at stake between India and Nepal. So therefore, in my opinion, maybe backdoor kind of activities can take place. So we'll close it here, and Dr. Roshan, you can take questions.
Hi, Tiger. I can hear you loud and clear.
I'll just take one question. Shritik Kothari, he's asking what is going on in our subcontinent.
I'm sorry, I have to leave now because I've got another commitment.
If you think that looks good.
I think we'll have
sir.
one or two because I think Dr. Jaiswal also wants to go. He has some commitment.
Yeah, but we should still take the questions.
Yes, we'll take this one. Sri Lanka. They say what is going in our subcontinent. First, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, now Nepal is being set on fire in similar protests. Seems too much to call a coincidence. Dr. Jaiswal, your views?
Yeah, we have been facing lots of questions. Similar questions were asked for Dhaka when it started in Colombo. So obviously, I do not deny, I think there must be a role because as I said, in Sri Lanka or in Dhaka or in Nepal, the role of civil society is very important, like in Colombo or in Dhaka, the Western embassies like all the European powers, US, came with a statement that they support democracy, freedom of the people, free press and all. So we see that there is support of the people. US has supported Nepal's democratization and they have supported different youth organizations on different issues. So if tomorrow, if we can come across such claims or such evidence, I will not be surprised. So I think it might not be a coincidence because as I said, Europeans are playing an important role in Nepal's democratization and they have been supporting different institutions, be it Dhaka or Colombo. That has destabilized, but I think it has more it is connected to the governance system. What is US funding mostly in this country? They work on governance, corruption control, gender equality, free press, secularism. These are the agendas. So tomorrow, if they are able to make some change in this country, I'll not be surprised. So I think it's not mere coincidence. But what I wanted to raise earlier is that how do they operate is a question. They operate on a vacuum that is left by the political parties. They operate on the grievances that is generated by the political parties. It's not European or deep state or anyone who brought corruption in Nepal. It's not the one who provoked them to rise against corruption. There was frustration. They benefited from that. Same is about Bangladesh or Colombo. Everyone knows about Rajapaksa. Everyone knows how Sheikh Hasina was there in power for long. People were frustrated. There was election. She unilaterally filed. So these are known secret. And the surprising is that in all these three countries, there is a strong government. Almost 2/3 majority. Rajapaksa Gotabe had a strong support. Hasina had 2/3 majority. KPOL and Nepali Congress, they had two largest party coming together and 2/3 majority. So what is happening is that when in South Asia, what we have seen is that majority government, strong government are more authoritarian in that sense because they not listen to the people's demands, grievances. Absolute power, absolute corrupt absolutely. That is what we have been witnessed. So I think that might be one factor. At the same time, I think we should also listen to the voice of the youth. Otherwise, we can land up in this kind of a difficult situation. We should understand how South Asia operates, where we have youth, huge amount of youth. All the South Asian countries are very youthful. There is huge number of youth population. They are highly connected. As I said, people are learning. So I think these are issues that we really need to understand at the moment.
The one question from Akash Sadani, he says to appoint a king is a selection process and not an election. Have the Nepalese elders set up a council to enable the process of selection of the king of Nepal?
As I said earlier, that king died a long time back, and king was killed by a king or
Yes.
former king. So a king was killed by a member of royal family. Before that, we used to see king as a Vishnu avatar. But one fine morning, when I got up as a young guy, I found out Vishnu has died. And it was not Vishnu who died, the entire 10-member family of Vishnu died. So I questioned to myself, if a Vishnu can't protect himself, how can he protect his family? And if he can't protect his family, how can he protect me? So on that day, a Vishnu died, a king died, number one. Number two, when that Vishnu died, king died, I have not seen a new Vishnu born till today. Because I only see a Vishnu who is from the same family, who is a killer, who the family itself said that the crown prince killed, and some say no, it's other. So this is the major problem. We don't have a king at the moment. Second is that I want king to serve me. I don't want to serve my king. So king is not coming with a vision that Pramod, I'll address you, I'll help you in corruption control, I'll deliver an economy, I'll make your economy better, wonderful life. King is not coming to me. He's not bringing any vision that I can blindly go on him and support him who is in some palace somewhere in the country. So he's lacking a vision. Third, he do not have a team who can bring him back to power. In politics, you need a system. Any political party can't. Prime Minister Modi is not Modi alone, and Modi was not Modi alone. They have a set of people who has to work. So king do not have a set of people, instrument, system that can make him come to back. Only once a year, as we celebrate birthday, he also appears among the crowd and he says, "I'm still alive, so let's join our hand and get me back." People say, "No, it's only once a year. We want king forever. And we want you to address with us. We want you to stand with us when we have problems. We don't know king of ancient era. You have to stand with us, join with us, work together." So king has failed to bring that system at the moment. Fourth, what we have seen is that we have already overthrown a system, and Nepal has progressed a lot from monarchy to democracy. Now we want something new. We don't want to go back to monarchy, Hindu state, and then maybe Nepal used to have 150 states, so break down into 150 pieces, and then go to ancient era, medieval era. We're not going back in that direction. People are progressing forward. I don't see any country going back to monarchy. There are few evidence. I think Cambodia had that. There are exceptions, but I don't think country going back to monarchy. So I think Nepal has, in a very short time, transformed a lot. From monarchy to democracy to multi-party democracy to federalism. In a very short time, Nepal economic has made progress. in terms of education, in terms of mortality rate, in terms of several development indicators. We enjoy very good relations with India. Everything has flourished, connectivity has increased. So, in ancient times, it was only the king who used to engage with India. The army had engagement, the king had. Now I have engagement, and we can build relations. So people are very important in this era. I think this is a very new world together. We're going back to nostalgia of king, getting Mughal back, or getting all those system back. I think this is a wonderful nostalgia, which sometimes these people have reading those historical books, but I think the world has moved far ahead. Thank you.
I think you rightly pointed out there is a question regarding that the vacuum which is created could be filled by it, but you have already answered to all those things. So any last comments from you and the DT, and then we'll close the thing.
Yeah,
I think. Yeah, sorry.
sorry. I think there was this question about, let's say we are looking out for our interests. Would we have certainly propped up the monarchy so that the vacuum created now could be filled up by it, and we would have had a better relationship? This is a question from Indians' perspective, that possibly this would have avoided a situation which is happening currently. This is a hypothetical question that former DG Artillery. Reason being that you know such things mostly backfire if we in today's environment. So we have to be very sure before we take any action of this nature. So I deliberately put up this question just to tell that it is. I mean, these kind of things are not done in a haste. If there is a regime change, etc., which is taking place, regime change has never been the value system of India. It has been the value system of other countries, and so they are welcome to do it, but we need to stop them from it. That is more important. We need to stop this kind of disturbance which is happening around us. So with that, I tend to agree with Shilpa Muddeshwar, who says Indian experts should think beyond these regime change and be 10 steps ahead of the one scripting this. Essentially, what she's trying to mean, Shilpa is trying to mean, is that we must become, we must be proactive in taking steps to ensure that our internal cohesion does not disappear. Most of the problems are risen because we give the opportunity to the people who are interested in regime changes. If we don't give them this opportunity, they will not be able to interfere into it. Why are we giving into our? Giving opportunities in terms of internal cohesion. So if there is a problem of internal cohesion, please sort it out. The politicians need to act, whether it is in India or whether it is in any other country. You cannot have a Notanki going on for in 10 years with 14 governments. This is not stability. I mean, if the people of Nepal don't understand that if you cannot have a stability of a government for a longer, give them a chance to work here. You're not even giving them the chance to work. Somebody works for 1.5 years, he's out of it. Next step comes, he changes the policy. Where is the longevity? Where is the long-term plan? It is not happening. It's not happening because we are not able to address our internal cohesion. I'll stop here and hand over the situation to Dr. Roshan.
Any last comments from you, Dr. Jaiswal, before we wind up? You are muted.
Thank you so much. I think that's all from me.
Okay. Thank you so much, Dr. Jaiswal and Lieutenant General Dushyant Singh, for joining. Thank you.
Thank you.